Hey everybody, and welcome. Welcome to my photography masterclass. My name is Terry White, and today we're going to be doing something we haven't done in a while. I feel like almost since the beginning of the pandemic, but I think we did one. We're going to get back to doing live shoots. This is a photography masterclass, so therefore we should be doing some photography every now and then. So if you are new to the photography masterclass, new to Adobe Live, thanks for joining us. If you're watching this on the replay, thanks for watching replays. I love replay numbers just as much as I love live numbers. Love it when people can make it in person. Love it when they watch it later. If you are watching this on YouTube, Facebook, not Instagram, Twitter, any other channel, just know that I will try to see your chat messages. But if I don't see your chat messages, it's because I'm mainly looking at the chat on Behance or b.net/Adobe Live in the upper right-hand corner there. So if you have an urgent question, something you need to say or ask, and I don't see your chat, head over there. So I do see Defir over on Facebook, but I see everybody else, Larry Anderson, Ozzy, a bunch of people chiming in on Adobe Live as well. So with that said, today, since we're going to be doing a live shoot, and we have a live model, Chandra. There's Chandra in the background. I don't know if you can hear her since I'm on my lavalier. But Chandra's in the background, and she will be in the foreground soon. We'll be doing a shoot with her and talk about all the different ways of lighting, not all the ways, but a lot of ways of lighting a portrait. If you're interested in the gear that we're going to be talking about today, I put together a gear guide. So that's it. You can head over to twhite.me/TW Home Studio. I'm in my home studio, so it's a little bit different than when I had my big commercial studio with all the gear that I had there. But you can either scan the QR code for those watching it on the replay or not watching it on your phone, or you can just go straight to that link. And the link is also in the description. I'm sure Sam Peterson, our moderator, will copy and paste that link in the chat over on Behance, but it's in the YouTube description, it's in the Behance description. I went and updated it so you guys would have access to the gear guide. It talks about all the gear that we're going to be talking about today, except I need to add one thing. I'll get to that when I get to it. All right, so without further ado, let me give you guys a quick tour of what we're going to be doing. I'm going to switch over to the studio camera. And so you can see Chandra just kind of sitting there waiting for things to get going here. In the upper right corner, I've got a Westcott FJ400 strobe with a 36-inch Octa softbox on it. I've got a second strobe that's actually on a stand, a little short stand behind her chair. It's pointed up at the gray background, and it's got a blue gel over it. So we're going to kind of try and make that background bluish, if we can, when we get to it. Over here on the right-hand side, I've got the brand new Westcott Eyelighter version 3. So this is one of my favorite clamshell reflectors. It is my favorite clamshell reflector for lighting under the chin or just getting more even light on my subject. Of course, I'm shooting with my Nikon Z6 II mirrorless. This particular camera has been working great for me. I've been using it now since the Z6 II came out and the Z6 before that. I've also, and I'll go ahead and turn it on. And I've got the, of course, the Westcott trigger on top, which is their all-purpose, all-camera, I should say, all-platform trigger. So no matter which platform you're using, it takes advantage of your camera. All right, so you will get a chance to see those camera settings. So I will, every now and then when I need to, switch over to the live camera view so you can see what settings I'm on. Right now I'm on 1/25th of a second, manual mode, f6.3 at 100 ISO. So you can see that as we go. All right, and of course we're going to start off with the desktop in Lightroom. Let's go there first because that's where we're going to set things up. That's where we're going to get Lightroom all set and ready to go so that we can do tethering so you can see the shots as I take them. And so even when I'm on, let's see if we can get one of these here. Even when I'm in the studio, and you'll still see the camera settings and Lightroom in the lower left-hand corner. So I have different shots that you can see the different things. All right, so let's go to the desktop first. And let's go ahead and set up Lightroom's blurry. Well, we can fix that. Hang on a second if it's what I think it is. Thanks for letting me know. Let's go ahead and fix that real quick. It's probably defaulting to, yep, it defaulted to the wrong resolution. I already know what that problem is when that problem happens. Let's put it back on the right resolution. And now Lightroom should look a lot better. Okay, so let me switch out of it and back to it, and Lightroom should look good again. Thanks for letting me know. All right, so anyway, let's go ahead and now we're going to set up Lightroom for tethering. So what we're going to do is go down to, or go up to Lightroom's File menu. And in the File menu, I'm going to come down to Tether Capture. And by the way, when I say Lightroom, tethering is a feature of Lightroom Classic at this point. So Lightroom Classic, not Lightroom, some refer to it as Lightroom Cloud, but not the other version. All right, so if you want to do tethering, you got to at least download Lightroom Classic to do it, as opposed to Lightroom Cloud. So let's put in her name, Chandra, and we're going to go ahead and start the count over at 1. So I'm just going to go ahead and put just a 1 in there. And once I go ahead and click OK, it will start looking for the camera. So I'm using a 15-foot Area 51 tether cable with an active USB thing on it to kind of keep the signal strong throughout the shoot. And once Lightroom has detected the camera has to be on, obviously, and it then brings up the tether bar. So just a quick tip, if you want to hide the tether bar because it's in your way, just hit Command-T on Mac, PC Control-T, that will get rid of the tether bar. I don't even bother doing that anymore. I just go full screen. So hitting the letter F brings the image I just took up in full screen, hides everything else, including the tether bar. So I don't even do the Command-T anymore. All right, so with that said, let's go ahead and dive into our first shot. So I'm going to head over to the camera. Let's go take a look at the studio and camera settings. There we go. And so we can see her. We can see that I've got, I'm going to go ahead and turn the strobe off for a second. All right, so the strobe is off. I guess I could have left the strobe on and just turned off the, let me leave the strobe on and turn off the trigger. All right, we'll leave the strobe on. We'll just turn the trigger off so that it's not firing the strobe at all. Okay, so now we've got basically ambient light. So with those settings with ambient light, I'm going to take a guess that the image is going to be super, hang on, let's just get back to this. There we go, super dark. So let's go ahead and focus on her. Okay, she's giving us a nice smile, ready to go, even though we may not even be able to see that smile. Let's go ahead and take the shot. And as I expected, let's go full screen on that, just a black frame. So even though there's plenty of ambient light in the room, we can't see her based on the settings I have on the camera. Now, one way to quickly get around that is to let the camera dictate the ISO. So I just switched the camera to auto ISO. I'll take the same shot again. And now it will figure out, let's take one with you. Okay, ready? There we go. We don't want to do that there. All right. All right, so now it will basically just figure out what it needs to set the ISO to automatically and give us the shot for the ambient light that we're looking at. So basically that shot was probably, I don't know, super high. Yeah, 20,000 ISO to keep it at f6.3 and 1/25th of a second. I could also lower the shutter speed. I can make the aperture more wide open. So I have those three things to control to get ambient light to work. ISO, shutter speed, and f-stop. All right, so I'm going to take off the auto ISO because I like to keep it at 100 when I'm in studio. And that's the whole reason why we use lights in the first place. So I'm going to go ahead and just turn the trigger back on. And so with the trigger on, I've only got the one main light on. I've got it down really low on power. All right, you ready? There we go. So let's take that shot. And that shot, we can see her, but she's still super dark because just simply that the light's not kicking off enough power. Now, no matter what strobes or speed lights you go with, inevitably you can probably crank up the power, usually right on the light. The thing I love about these Westcott strobes is that in their whole FJ system, that one trigger can control multiple lights, adjusting the power, putting them in different groups. So I put each light in its own group, A, B, and C. So if I want to adjust the power of just A, switch to A, pump up the power, and only that light changes. All right, so with that said, let's go ahead and it's on a power setting of 2. Let's double it. Let's put it on 4. And if Brandon's watching, Brandon knows I wish this dial wasn't as finicky. That was a private message for Brandon over at Westcott. All right, anyway, let's try it again. All right, so we're starting to see more of her. Well, I could also bring the light closer if that was all the power I wanted, or adjust camera settings, but in this case, why not crank up more power? All right, so let's go ahead and go to 6. And you can do, by the way, you can do tenths in between. So I could do 5.5, I could do 5.6. I can do whatever I want. But I'm just going to take it up another 2 full stops. All right, 6, oh, not 6.2. All right, there we go, and ready? All right, cool. And that's starting to get where I want to be, where it's lighting her adequately, but the background's still kind of dark because there's not enough of this light hitting the background, and that's okay. I might even take it up another half a stop, so let's go 6.5. Okay, let's try that. There we go. And of course, I can split the difference. I can go ahead and go down or up or wherever I want to be. Now, the one thing that I'm starting to see is under her chin, there's still darkness because the light, we always position the light overhead at an angle. And the other thing to remember about light is it's always, no matter what, a straight line. So that straight line of that softbox is shooting straight down onto her forehead, so to speak, almost maybe even a little bit on her hair, and back. So it's not going underneath her chin because her chin is what's casting the shadow. Also, if you've ever had an issue where you're trying to, hey, why am I getting this shadow, this harsh shadow on my background? It's likely because the light is positioned straight on, and therefore the straight line past the subject onto the background. So if we want to not have a shadow on the background, up and down, because the straight line is going to put the shadow on the ground where it belongs, unless you want it in the background. Now, of course, the other way to get rid of a shadow in the background is to light the background. But just letting you know, with that one light, no matter what kind of light it is, that's the way light has always worked from day one. How much power, how close it is to the subject, what direction it's pointed in will give you the results that you're looking for if you master those things. Now, why a softbox? Why not just the bare bulb of the light? Why not a beauty dish, or why not a grid? Why not all these things? All of those are called light modifiers, except for the bare bulb. And the reason we put a softbox on a light is by the name, soft. We want the light to be softer. We don't want a harsh light. So one of the rules to remember when it comes to light, the bigger the light, the closer it is to the subject, the softer it will be. Now, the brightest light we know of is the one up in the sky, the sun. It's super bright, but it's, what, millions of miles away? And it's small from our perspective and harsh because it's so far away. So if you're out ever in midday light and you do a photograph, the light is really hard, really edgy, really bad because It's so far away, so small compared to us, and that's why the light looks bad in the daytime. So all the softbox is going to do is make that look like it's going to, all the softbox is going to do is make that light softer. Now, how can I illuminate under her chin? Well, I could add another light, but then that starts to get expensive, and then you're just having to control multiple things. Another way to control light easier, cheaper, under the subject is to simply use a reflector. So I've got one right here. We're going to do two things. This is a reflector, and it's also a gray target. So we're going to use the gray target first. We're going to just take one shot with this. We're going to have her just hold it right in front of the camera, just like that. Perfect. All right, Chandra, you're doing great. And why are we taking this picture of this gray thing right in front of the subject? Well, you'll see in a minute. All right, so I aimed at that, and it basically took that shot. So if we go look at that shot, well, nope, if we go look at that shot, there we go. We'll see that that's exactly what okay, you can give it back, great. That's exactly what we got. Now, why do we take this one shot of this gray card, this gray thing? We try to remember to do that every time. Because what this will help you do is set the white balance, as Sean said in the comments. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just get out of full screen. Let's go desktop so you can see it. I'm going to get out of full screen, and I'm going to go into the develop module. And in the develop module, I'm just going to grab the white balance eyedropper, and I'm going to just go ahead and click anywhere on this gray. And what this gray will, what clicking on this 18% neutral gray will do is it will set the white balance for the shot. It wasn't horribly off, it wasn't too warm, wasn't too cold, but it did make the adjustment. Now, I don't want to keep having to shoot this every single time. I just want to shoot it once, and then I want Lightroom to adjust the shots I take from now on under these lighting conditions with this white balance. So what I'll do is over here on the tether bar, there is a same as previous choice. And what that same as previous choice says is whatever I just did, exposure, temperature, gradients, color, whatever I just did, do it for every shot I do from now on. So make the same adjustment. So if I just say same as previous, now every shot I take after this will get that adjustment. All right, so let's go back full screen. And remember, this is where we were with the dark under the chin. And now we're going to take the other side of this, which is a reflector, and we're just going to have her hold it under the chin. So just hold it right there. Yeah, there we go. So keep in mind, wait, before we do that, she holds it straight up and down, and the light hits it, it's going to go straight up. So you might want to have it tilt just to see what, even look what it's doing to me. Even as I tilt this to me, look at what it's doing to my face. Here, let me go back on me. All right, so no reflector, reflector straight up, but reflected towards me, you can actually see the difference. All right, so just keep that in mind. Away from me, towards me. All right, so let's go back to, there we go. And we're gonna have you hold it like that, so that whatever, and I can already see it with the modeling light. I can see the modeling light and what it's doing to her, just by having her hold it like that. Okay, so that's the position she's holding it in, and let's go ahead and go to, let's go ahead and have her take we're gonna take a shot with that. Now, I'm gonna bring it down just a little bit. There we go, just like that, perfect, because it was in my way in the shot. I could have zoomed in tighter, but I wanted to show you, keep the same thing. All right, now, even though it's going to be in the shot, I want you to bring it a little closer like you had it. Bring it up. There we go. And so even if I don't do anything, that's before, that's after. Now we got it a little closer. All right. And you can really start to see what it's doing. Now, of course, I would have to adjust my camera angle for this shot so that the reflector's not in the way. Or better yet, these are relatively inexpensive. Again, usually they serve dual purpose. There's something on one side, maybe a color, yellow, silver, white on another side. In my gear guide, there's a 5-in-1 reflector kit that's relatively expensive. These are nice because they fold down. They're easy to travel with. You could even put one in a suitcase flat like this, and they're great to work with. All right, but since I'm in studio and I got all the room in the world for a reflector, I'm going to go ahead and bring out my favorite modifier of all time, the Westcott Eyelighter. Let's lift it up. All right, and let's bring this closer to you. There we go. All right, cool, cool, cool. Let me walk around all the gear without breaking anything, hopefully. And good, I don't see it in the shot. And now let's go ahead and take one of these. And that's what I love about this highlighter. So let's go to desktop here so you can see it. That's the shot. And it creates this crescent, what's called catch light in the eye. So this crescent shape, plus you can already see the main light, and this nice crescent. I just like that shape of catch light. It's just been one of my favorites since day one. Okay, so that's one of the ways you can add light without having to buy another light or without having to set up and use another light. Okay, next thing I want to do is what's cool about this version 3 of it. I've had version 1, version 2, but version 3 is my favorite so far because when I first got version 2, I got silver. And then they sold white. And it was like, okay, you could buy the cloth and replace the silver with white. But then you had to take the whole thing completely apart, add the white onto it, and then if you wanted silver, take it all apart again, put the silver back. Well, now you get white, silver, and gold all in one. So I'm using the white on top. This is just Velcroed on. So if I tear this back, or tear it off, or flip it over there, we'll get the, here you can see the studio shot there. We'll get the silver. Now, silver is going to be a bit more hard. It's going to be a bit more edgy. And silver is great for fashion. It's great when you want that kind of look. If you want soft, you go with the white. If you want hard and edgy, go with the silver. All right, so let's go in and let's take a shot with that. And there we go. Okay, so let's take this shot with the silver. You probably won't see a ton of difference, but it should be more, basically more light because the silver is going to give you the most light out of the 3. Now, and I can already see it's brighter overall. I didn't change anything on the camera, didn't change anything on the light. Now, the other side of the white Velcro is gold. Nope. So you got gold on one side. Trying to see where I'm pointing this to. Let's do that. Gold on one side, white on the other, and silver's already on it permanently. So I'm going to go ahead and flip it to the gold side. I love it when the model helps. She gets bonus points for this. It's helping me out. It's great. Awesome. Thank you. Now, what's gold going to do? Gold is going to make it warmer. So let's go ahead and take a look at what that looks like. So we got the gold in place. And now, Chandra, I'm going to have you, nope, let's take this one shot first, then I'm going to have you turn. Let's compare. And I can already see it warmer just on the modeling light. So that's going to give you warmer if you're looking for warm flesh tones. If you're looking for warmer people, or you're looking or shooting people of color, you might want to use the gold as well. But just warmer flesh tones overall, you will get that automatically with the gold. So I'm going to have you turn your body left or right, whichever way you want, and keep your head towards me, just like that. And I like what you're doing. Can you like put your hand up with your hair? Yep, perfect. Let's do that. Okay, good, good, good. Now let's go ahead and flip it back over to the white where we had it. Let's flip it upside down. So easy to change it, so easy to set this one up. So, way to go, Westcott. Home run on this. All right. It's not flat, but it'll be okay. Let's go and give me that same pose again. Perfect. Great. Thanks. And that will be the white. So, silver would just be brighter. White, warmer, soft, or I shouldn't say warmer. White, softer. Yellow's warmer. Gold is warmer. Okay, so that's another way to add light to your subject. So we built this up so far. We were working with one main light. We saw what that could do. We saw what just adding a simple reflector underneath could do. Blown out, or is it the stream? So someone's asking about hot spots on her face. Is it the stream or is it a little bit blown out? I'm looking, I'm not really seeing a big soft or a big hot spot. It's of course lighter right here, but I definitely would not call that a hot spot. But if it did, let's say that that was giving you a hot spot that you didn't want. What are your options? Diffuse the light more, pull the light back more, maybe use a reflector as the source so it bounces the light on. So, and Sean's saying it's the stream as well. So yeah, I'm not getting any horrible hot spots here, so it's probably just what you're seeing on camera. All right, next, let's go in and add another light. So how much time we got? We got plenty of time, good. We're gonna add a second light for the background. Now, again, keep in mind that the background's only been getting whatever spillover it gets from the main light. But if we add a light to actually light the background, we'll see what we get. All right, so let's show you what I'm going to do here. All right, I'm going to pick the whole light up and bring it over to you so you can see it. And then I'll switch to the studio shot so you can see what I've got here. Okay, so basically it's just another FJ400 strobe that's been off this entire time. It's on a short light stand. And I'm going to go ahead and I've got a blue gel over it. So another thing I like about this particular strobe head is that it's super easy to add gels because you just basically use the can here, and they give you a set of gels that are different colors, like they give you green, yellow, and red, but they don't give you blue. So I just basically use my own blue gel. They do give you a clear magnetic ring. Nothing's in it, it's just clear. And then I'm just basically going to set this on top and then use the magnetic gel to hold it, magnetic ring to hold it in place. So now, when I turn this light on, there we go. It will now be part of the setup because it's already on the same channel. And this is technically group C. So this is group C. I haven't shown you group B yet. All right, so let's go ahead and put this on the floor, put it up towards the background. There we go. And show you where that is. It's right behind her on the floor, pointing up with the blue gel on the background. So I've got C on the last power setting that it was on. Let's go ahead and see what that looks like when we take a shot with it. And we can start to see that it's lighting that background with blue. So instead of it being gray, now we got a blue background. She's still the same color because it's behind her, so it's only lighting the background. Now, if I want it brighter, I can go to my trigger here, go down to Group C, and just simply turn up the light. The modeling light came on when I did that, so we can actually see it in the studio. But let's go ahead and take the shot. There we go, getting more of that blue. And if I move both of the subject and her away from the background, and then I can spread that light out more instead of creating a spot. So it also depends on how much room you have to play. All right, I'm going to crank it up a little bit more. All right, let's go. It's at 5.3 and the main light's at 6.5. There we go. That's kind of getting what I want. Now, the thing I told you I was going to add to the gear guide. This is a shade of gray, seamless paper by Savage. I don't even remember what color it is, but it's just gray. They make a gray that's a little bit lighter than this. I've got one on order. It'll be here next week, called Fashion Gray. And what fashion, well, by the name, it's designed to do fashion shots, but being it just a little bit lighter, it's easier to modify and change the color of with gels than the darker gray, because I can still see some of the gray in that shot. And again, of course, I can move the light back, get more spread, but it would just be so much easier if the gray wasn't as dark as it is. Now, also, if you're ever shooting to remove the background or composite the subject, people say, oh, you shot it on a white background, it's easy. Easier, but not easy, because white spills over onto the subject, green screen spills over onto the subject, basically all the colors spill onto the subject, except gray. So because gray isn't casting gray onto the subject. So if you're ever, like your goal is to composite, like I'm gonna shoot this and cut it out in Photoshop, then shoot on gray if you can. That will be the easiest background removal you ever did. All right, next up, let's take a couple more. I'm gonna have her, we're gonna add your jacket. So she brought this nice jacket. I'm gonna have her add it and put it on. Great, great, great. And you can stand up if you need to. Because once you sit down, I'm gonna have you be very still in a certain spot. So get all your movement out of the way. All right, so while she's getting ready, I'm gonna tell you what we're gonna do next. We're gonna add a third light. We're gonna take a couple shots like this. Then we're gonna add a third light. All right, give me some nice fashion poses with your nice fashiony jacket. Oh, awesome. Great. Okay. Hang on. As the photographer, let me make an adjustment here. Great, love that. Oh, do that again, but don't, I caught you blinking. Great. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Awesome. And of course, I could do this all day, but let's keep going. So the third object we're going to use, the third light we're going to use, is one that we're going to use for creativity. It's not necessarily to light the subject a specific way. As a matter of fact, we may turn off the main light and just use this one light. Because this one light is something new I don't know how new it is. It's something, I'm using a lot of Westcott gear because that's what I use. Before that, I was using Elechrome, so I'll tell you all Elechrome things I was using. But in this case, it's a new Westcott product it's by, I think, designed by Lindsay Adler. It's called the Optical Spot. So the Optical Spot is designed for, like, there's nothing like it. Like, I can't think of another product that does what it does. So if you've ever seen a snoot is basically a tube that you put a light on and it shoots a very, like a beam of light, like a circle or a shape onto the subject. And that's pretty much it. Like, that's all you're going to get with a snoot. Let me show you what this thing does. Let's bring it down. Let me show you full screen so you can see what I'm doing here. This is it. I've got the lens off because I wanted to show you what it does first. So on the back is a regular FJ400 strobe. So my strobe on the back, and this part on the front is the modifier. This is the optical spot. So it's just basically, let me see if I can take it off. Okay, so here it is. It's basically, you can get whatever speed ring you need for your lights. So I did the Bowens mount because I'm using, it's also work with Godox, FJ400, so forth and so on. So this one, I got that speed ring with it. And basically, inside of it, you've got these shields. Let me pull them all out. And if I extend them all, then you get a spot. Now, if you wanted to shape the light, you can shape the light just by closing partly, or closing some of them, or closing all, not all of them, but closing a couple of them. And that would create, for example, a straight line of light just by closing it that way. So basically you can tilt, turn, close, get it just the way you want to kind of project that light onto the subject. Now, the only thing that's missing on the front of this is the lens. It actually comes with a lens. That's what's missing on the front of it. And just for my Canon shooters out there, I'm not a Canon shooter, so I can't take advantage of this just now, but this is a regular Canon mount for lenses. So you don't have to use the kit lens that comes with it. You can put a telephoto lens on it. You can put a wide angle lens on it to get more spread. Whatever Canon lens you want to put on top of this. But what it does come with is this lens. So it's just basically what they call their kit lens. All right. That did not click like I thought it should, but should be on there. Okay. I'm not able to pull it off, so it should be on there. All right, so now I'm going to put this back on the strobe. All right, that's the click I was looking for there. And maybe I don't have it in the right spot. Let's try this again. There we go. All right, so now this lens basically allows you to focus the light. So for example, we'll turn it on. And I turn on the strobe, because again, it's whatever strobe you want to put on it. I'm going to turn it around. Point it at my subject. And we don't see the speed light for it yet. Let me just take a shot. Make sure that is where I want it to be. It is. And let me lift it up a little bit. And let's see if we can get that modeling light on. There we go. So now I can see it. Let me show it to you in the studio. You can see the bottom edges of that white spot in the middle. So that white spot is coming from this. I'm moving it around so you can see it. So I'm going to tilt it down at my subject. And now you can actually see it on her face. And she probably doesn't like looking into it. But there it is. I can actually focus by turning the lens. I can get a nice hard edge to that spot. So there's the spot over there. I can focus it with any lens that's on it, including the one that comes with it. Now, it's like a lens, it's upside down and backwards. So if I want to close the bottom of it, I don't push the bottom shades in, I push the top shades in because it's backwards and upside down. All right, so let me show you. I'm going to basically shape the light into a V by closing the top ones. Like that. I heard my click finally. And let's sharpen it. That is the opposite of sharp. Let's go the other way. There we go. Okay, so now let's see what we get with that. Now, of course, with both lights pointing on her, the main light and the optical spot, they're probably going to cancel each other out. So I'm going to take the main light. I can either turn it off or I can go all the way down on the power. So it's basically doing very little to light her. I'm taking it all the way down to 1. It was on 6.5. All the way down. There we go. We're at 1 now. Now let's take that shot. Let me show you what it looks like. Let's take the shot. And we get that V shape. So we're basically able to get creative control over our light by just using the shutters and this lens and this spot to put light exactly where we want it and get the shape we want. Okay, let's get a little bit more creative. Instead of a V, I want more of a white rectangle across her eyes. So we're going to do that, and we're going to do that. She's like, what are you doing, man? All right, do that. Okay, let's go ahead. And see, this is why you can't move, because if you move down a little bit or up a little bit, now your eyes aren't in it. But you're great now. You're good. All right. So again, at this point, it's making adjustments. I'm going to have you tilt your chin down a little bit, like that. And I'll move this over, like that. Okay, great. Let's try that one. Super cool, but not what I want. Let's try this. Yeah, there we go. That looks a bit better. I'll just do it across your eye, one eye and the lips. So again, I just reshifted the shutters. And let's take another one. And we get that look. Now, keep in mind that all we've done is put the lens on. The lens is in front of the shutters, so it doesn't matter what lens you use. I'm using the one that comes with it because I don't have any Canon lenses. But I've just basically just changed which ones I use in front. Now, if I want to have something different, it comes with these, what are called gobos. So a gobo, where it gets that funny name from, is go between. Go between the light and the lens, or go between the light and the subject. In this case, it is going between the light and the lens because that's where it sits. So they give you one more shutter to put in, and these literally are interchangeable. So here's a star, I have a circle, I have a window shape, I have these lines. So these are all different shapes that can go in it. And you can buy more shapes, obviously. So I'm just going to go ahead and drop this in. Open up the shutters. I can already see what it's doing to her. And these particular shutters are different widths. So you're going to get kind of a cool effect with that. So let's try that. And you get that, striped effect. That's what you're looking for. Now, you don't have to do it on the subject. You can also do it on the background. So if I move this over, now that becomes part of my background. There we go. And let's get it in focus. And let's see what that looks like on the background. Now, she's not lit right now, so let me crank up the main light a little bit. Okay, I had it on 1. I'm going to take it up to 3. It's still going to be kind of dark. but you'll see what it does to the background. There we go. Kind of see those lines behind her. Let me move it a little bit away from her so we can see a little bit more of it. There we go. Cool. Now, if I don't want it to be that sharp, then all I'd have to do is just simply blur it from the lens. All right, that's blurred. And it just kind of creates like a nice pattern on your backdrop. That's a little too blurred. Let's bring it back a little bit. Maybe something like that. Now, getting one of these just simply makes me want two of them because now I want to do this to the background and then do something totally different on the subject. But they're not cheap. So I might have to wait a bit before I get another one. All right. Now, let's say we want to change the shape. Take the lines out and put the star in, because I know you're dying to see the star. All right, so just take the metal star, put the star in. And you can see here, I'll take a shot quickly so you can see it on the background. You can actually see it coming off her shoulder on the background, just like that. So if I was doing my Captain America shot, I'd be all set. Oh. All right, so we're going to put it back on her. I'll move it closer. I'm going to put it back in focus. There we go. I'm going to move it down a little bit, right across the eyes. Hang on. Gravity is working against me here. Tilt the light up. Oh, too much. Right there. Right there. Nice, hard star shape right on her face. So here we go. Let's take that shot. And you can kind of see what you get. Now, I might crank up the main light just a little bit more. Or actually, I might go down a little bit more. Let's go back up to the main light, which is group A. Bring down the power for group A. If only the trigger wasn't so finicky of a dial, and I could actually turn it without it changing to a different setting. That was for Brandon, who may be watching. There we go. So let's go ahead and move it actually even closer. Nope, no, you're good. Get it closer, bring it down. And of course, now I got to change the focus again. And actually, I'm going to turn the gobo slightly to an angle. That looks better. Like that. All right, let's try it one more time. Cool. Only thing I don't like is the way it's cutting across her nose. So let's move it over like that. Stars are not an easy shape. All right, the star is okay. I think we can do better. Let me go over to my collection of gobos. There's even like a dot. So if you just wanted to put like a white dot or a different color dot on someone, you could. So here's the dot, just a circle. Here's the one that reminds me of a window, just the 4 panes of a window. Here's the one I was about to try, the heart shape. And then these are the lines that are all even. They're all the same size. So let's try the heart. Now take the holder out. Take the star out of the holder and put the heart in its place. And then put the gobo, put the heart back in. Well, because it's upside down and backwards, I need to put the heart upside down if I want that shape. Stars don't matter. There's just five shapes, 5 sizes are the same. But a heart would matter because I want the top of the heart to be on the top. That's as sharp as I'm going to get it. Right there. Okay, not going to be the best shot in the world, but let's try it. Can you pull your hair back on this side? Perfect. Just like that. Go back in place. Chin down a little. Right there. And that's our heart. So whether you do it on the subject or whether you do it on the background, you can play with these different shapes and gobos to kind of get what you want. All right, just looking at the chat here. And just make sure I'm not missing any questions. Okay. All right, cool. All right, fantastic. People are liking it. Cool. Let's see what we can do next. Now, before we leave the optical spot, there's one more way we can use it. It has its own gels. So I've got a red gel that basically is just a cap that goes right on the front. So this comes with it as well. It comes with different gel colors. I'm just going to put this right on the top, right on the front of the lens. So now that heart's going to be red. She's going to be on a blue background. And let's see what we get. That I like. That's cool. Even she likes it. She's smiling at it. I got a smile out of her on this one. She likes it. She used quick reflexes too. She even came right back to the camera when she thought I was going to grab a shot. All right, cool. And again, whether I want that on her or the background, I can have it either way. All right, folks, we are just about out of time. Let's see if we can get this in focus quick. And let's see. And again, keep in mind that that's a separate strobe with its own power. So if I need to pump up the power of that, yeah, it's not going to be good. Okay, I'm out of time, so I can't make those adjustments. But as you can see, lighting doesn't have to be hard. With digital, you can experiment all day long. You see a mannequin over there in a polka dot dress. I call her Dot because she's wearing a dotted dress behind the eyeliner there. But a lot of my practice shots are with Dot, a mannequin. So just if you need to play around with the lights, you don't want to have someone sit there for hours on end while you're playing, use pets, use mannequins, use inanimate objects, and just play with the way the light's shaping and working around your subject. Play with color gels, play with different backgrounds, play with lighting the background, play with multiple lights on the subject until you get the kinds of looks you want and until you get comfortable. Lighting can also be very inexpensive. I've seen speed lights go for less than $100. I've seen strobes go for less than a couple $100, so you can literally build up as you go and continue to work. So glad you guys got something out of this. Thomas says, great show. Sam says, thanks. Thanks to the model as well. Chandra, there's Chandra. Chandra. There she is. Oh, nope, Gobo's in the way. There she is. Bye, Chandra. All right, cheers, everybody. Thanks for watching, and we will catch you on the next one. Bye, everybody.